Hey guys, Jonathan here, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the $100 LEGO Marvel logo set that drops on January 1st, 2025. LEGO sent me this early to review, but of course, all thoughts are my own, and this is a set that I have some serious mixed feelings about. As far as the minifigs are concerned, I think that there's some good and some really bad, and then as far as the set is concerned, I also think there's some good and some not so good. So, it's going to be a very nuanced take today, and let's look at everything and give it a fair assessment if this set is worth $100 or not. Okay, so that brings us to the set itself. 931 pieces are included in this $100 set, the majority of which go to the Marvel logo, and once again, the majority of which are going to be red to make up for the giant box that this comes in. Now, let's take a look at the Marvel letters. You kind of build these continuously as you go throughout, and if we look up close, you can see tons and tons of really unique ways that the Lego bricks are positioned to go ahead and spell out the letters of Marvel, but also they got the font perfectly right, just like we know from the comics and TV shows and movies and everything. So I think that that is a marvel, haha, in and of itself, that they got the font down right. And I do like that there are some exposed studs so that we're reminded that, yes, this is a Lego set. Up top, the same is true, where we can see some exposed studs and a mixture of bricks that are flat, so that's cool. And then everything is kind of hidden in place as to how to open it up. So you push this tab back, and that has Iron Man fly up and out of the top. Go ahead and move the camera back so we can see this. Then there's two 2x2 flat pieces here that you push, and those allow for the top to pop off and the side. So you do want to give it some force so that the pieces fly off, and as you can see, they just kind of fly wherever. They're not really attached, and we have one arm that comes out of the side with one minifig, and another minifig pops out of the top, so that's quite cool. Then, of course, we can repeat that same play feature on the other side by pressing this down. Want to give it a nice hard push so that all the pieces fly out in place, and now we have all 5 minifigs exposed. Now, as you can see, all of these minifigures are MCU-based, which, you know, for those of us that like MCU stuff, well, probably most of us watching this video that would be true for, it's not such a bad thing. But this is the Marvel logo, not the Marvel Studios logo. Tell me this wouldn't have been the perfect time to do Stan Lee, first appearance Iron Man in the gold suit, first appearance Spider-Man with the black and red color scheme and all of that. Just, there's so many better minifigs that could have come in this, and honestly, I think people would have been okay with paying a little bit more money for it, as crazy as that is, if all 5 minifigs were brand new and exclusive to this set. Like, could you imagine if Stan Lee popped out of the center, and you had black and red Spider-Man, comic book Ant-Man? I mean, you know, there's countless figures we haven't gotten yet, and honestly, sadly, probably never will at this point, that would have been such better choices than yet another Hulk minifig, a reused Black Widow, a nice new Iron Man, to be fair, but, you know, just so much disappointment when it comes to the minifigs that are offered here. But that being said, I really don't think that they're bad minifigs either, so let's go ahead and take a look at those minifigs now. As you'll see, you actually attach the minifigs to the back of the legs and the bottom of the legs so that when all that force is applied to open the door, they don't go flying with it. So that is a nice little, you know, architectural piece that's added in here. And now we'll take a look at the figs. Okay, I swear I'm not teasing with the figures, but I keep thinking of things to add. I do think that the inside is really neat with the way we build the Technic. There's not really a good way to show it once it's actually completely built, and I don't really want to ruin the surprise for you, but it was a very satisfying build for what it's worth. So we'll start with the least interesting minifig, and that is Black Widow. It's not to say it's a bad figure. Of course, it has leg printing and everything. It's just that this figure has come in lots of other sets at this point, including the Avengers Tower, the Civil War Airport Battle. The version without leg printing came in the Quinjet. We got it with the Leviathan. So it's just a figure that's been offered many, many times and isn't really bringing anything new to the table. And once again, I think that all of these figures coulda, shoulda, woulda been based off the comics. So imagine if we had gotten like a classic 1960s version of Black Widow instead of yet another MCU version, much less a version that's already come in 4 or 5 sets already. Up next is the Hulk, and this is a very weird Hulk because with him having gray pants, he's probably supposed to be based off of the first Avengers film, maybe? I'm not really sure. But this is the first Hulk minifigure, if you don't count the Mighty Micros version, that hasn't had leg printing or dual molded legs, or in some cases both. So it's really weird to see the Hulk wearing full pants without his feet being exposed, because of course that's what we think of when we see the Hulk. They kind of went with the chest hair version here, and we do get a lot of nice back printing, which is cool. And of course the face can be flipped around, but if this is supposed to be the 2012 version of Hulk with the gray pants, then that version of Hulk didn't really smile calmly like this. Of course, we do see him angry like this side, so it's just not super clear what version of Hulk this is supposed to be, and when we're doing a huge Marvel celebration like this, I think it should be pretty darn obvious what figure comes from where, and that leads me to the next one. Here we have Thor, and it's not super clear which version of Thor this is supposed to be, because of course the lightning eyes and chest would tell you it has to be Infinity War or Endgame, but at the same token, he only comes with Mjolnir and not Stormbreaker. So the only time he has Mjolnir is in Endgame, but by the time he's in Endgame, Stormbreaker is his main weapon, not Mjolnir. And if it's supposed to be Infinity War, well, he shouldn't have Mjolnir or the long hair. So overall, it's just a very, I don't know, it just feels like a figure that didn't have a lot of thought put into it, that he should have come with a different weapon and shorter hair for Infinity War, or also Stormbreaker with the long hair, and then that would be the Endgame version. Regardless, though, the torso print is really nice and has a lot of great detail to it, and of course all that lightning effect does look really good as it shimmers in the light, but at the end of the day, it's just another figure here that it's not super clear where it came from. Okay, here we have the Iron Man Mark 6, which is really cool because we got the damaged version of this armor in the Avengers Tower. So it's really nice to see it here, of course, clean and non-damaged. The helmet lifts up like always to show us Tony's face underneath and the HUD on the reverse side, but beyond that, not really much to say about the head. Of course, it does use that new helmet style, which you guys know I'm not a big fan of, but I have to admit, this helmet is one of the better looking Iron Man helmets as far as the print is concerned with this new mold style. Then, of course, getting toe printing, hip printing, and leg printing on this, as well as front and back printing, is truly awesome, and I do dig this figure a lot. Although, as I've mentioned, classic comic book figures would have been so much better, especially if we could have gotten, like, a gold first appearance Iron Man or something like that. And our final figure to look at is Captain America from the First Avenger, a figure we have wanted for years, and technically our first Avenger minifig ever, really any character from that movie and their outfit from that movie. So I do like this a lot, and it's a great inclusion. We are getting the same Captain America helmet we've been getting for some time now. If you've ever noticed, too, there are two different versions of this Cap helmet. One has a black outline around the A in the wings, and then this version, of course, does not have that. So just kind of something interesting. If we lift that up, we, of course, have the chin strap on one side, as well as the Chris Evans, Steve Rogers smirk on the other. Then that brings us down to the torso, which is really the only new and exclusive part here. Of course, it's got all of that accurate World War II printing on there for, like, his utility belt, the, I don't know if it's like a satchel, but the thing that's like going across his torso there, the belt for the harness, all of it looks really good. And then, of course, we've got those light gray or light bluish gray arms. In a perfect world, I think these really should have been dual molded with dark blue on top and then that light bluish gray on bottom. But even still, I do think that this looks good, and the more I look at it and the more I live with it, the more I like it. That being said, the only really new thing here is the torso, which I suppose you could say the same is true for Thor as well. So, it doesn't really bring a ton new to the table, and I just, it's not bad, it's not great, but it's yet another Steve Rogers that doesn't get any sort of leg printing or detail, and at the end of the day, I just feel like it's a cool figure, but it's not enough for me to tell you guys you've got to be lined up on day one to get this set for $100. It's not a bad set, it's just not a great set, but let's zoom out and I'll give you my final thoughts here. Alright guys, well thanks for tuning in to today's video, and thanks again to LEGO for sending this my way to review. The final verdict is this: I think it's not a bad set, but all LEGO sets go on sale eventually, and getting this for any price under $100 will be much, much more valuable. I still think that it was a huge miss for this not to be based off of Marvel Comics, in which case all 5 or 6, if we would have gotten Hawkeye, minifigs included, could have been new designs and or updates from figures that are currently in sets. It just feels like a very mismatched set that didn't have a ton of thought put into the minifigs, the designs, and all of the above. So, is it a bad set? No. Is it overpriced? Yeah, probably. Could it have been better? Absolutely. So at that point, it really comes down to your decision. If you feel like this set is worth $100 or not, it's really up to you. My recommendation would be pick it up because the minifigs are good, but don't pay full price. Wait for a sale because all LEGO sets will go on sale eventually. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.